Trail riding is symbolizing the Old West. Trail riding goes back from when our ancestors was farming and had horses and mules and buggies and wagons, and that was the only way they was able to get around. So trail riding now, and to me, is just carrying on that legacy. What was trail riding like then and compared to now? Well, actually, trail riding is basically the same. It will never change. It has taken on another aspect to where uh, a lot of it is being done different from what it was doing back then. Back then, we was organized and we had more togetherness, and we had rules and we had regulations. Now it's a little different. Trail riding is also now a a party instead of trail riding. What drew me to trail riding actually was my agriculture teacher, Mr. Voidy Calloway. He would take us out of the class because we was in agriculture, which was the Future Farmers of America, FFA, and took me out on trail ride, and we slept out on the trail and slept under the wagons and in the wagon, and enjoyed it as a teenager. Real had a good time. How did segregation kind of got in on the black trail riders, the blacks doing segregation? Well, actually, when you really look at it and really think about it, I can go back into history to where in 1917 in the Houston area there was a riot, and that ride was in the Fourth Ward area, to where a white policeman arrested a black lady in Fourth Ward, and that caused a riot, and several people was killed doing that, and then after that, blacks didn't have no significance in the trail ride. They didn't even want you into Memorial Park. The challenges that we face during our time is that well, we was based, as I first stated, for being a part of that the trail ride, and being black. You really was didn't have no say, and you really didn't have anything to do with the trail ride, because it was basically based upon another nationality, and which was the whites, and wasn't in the blacks. Well, the purpose of the black trail riders and to have their identity is probably, as I first stated, when you think about it and go back into time, you can realize that the black cowboy actually came from slavery, and during that time is when that's how the name cowboy came about. Because back in slavery, one master says to another master, as visiting his plantation, he was calling off some locations, and what are these? Who are these over here? And he would say who they were, and who are these over here? He would say who are those guys over there with the cows? He said those are the cowboys, because they kept the cows. And that's how we got to be cowboys. And that was blacks. We was nothing, was black cowboys, was only cowboys. And you can look that up, and that is definitely the truth. I first got involved with the trail riding associations, the Black Trail Riding with the Prairie View Trail Riders. As I said earlier about Mr. Calloway, was the Voidy Calloway was our agriculture teacher, and he took us out on that trail. And at that time, back in 1957, The Prairie View Trail Rider was the only black trail there was. And that's how we come about being involved with that trail. Well, what inspired me to start the Circle P Trail Riding Club was that I was riding with the Prairie View Trail, and I had people with me, but I didn't have a club. We was individually. We had several people with us, and we didn't have a club. We were just riding. So we kind of saw it, and we needed to come together as a group. So we started the Circle P Riding Club. Oh, who was the members of the Humphrey and Perry six-shooter trail riding? Actually, the Humphrey Trail Riding Club was some gentlemen, guys that came together with my uncle, which was a Perry, and they came together and they started a club. They wanted a club of their own because they lived in a different area of the city, and so they wanted their own riding club. So they started the Humphrey and Perry six-shooters. And during that time, my uncle, which was Robert Perry, and Mr. Humphrey, which was Chester Humphrey, and they started their club, and that's how that got started. Well, I had become part of the Northeastern Trail Riding Association due to actually, we go back a little bit, and when we started the Circle P Riding Club, and during that time, that's when we come together as a group. And after that, we kind of moved forward to coming into the Restoration Riders. And as we moved forward, coming into the Restoration Riders, we began to change from being Circle P to Restoration. And when we come to be Restoration, that's when we began to get some rejection, because we're now a Christian trail rider. Instead of just being social, now we're Christian. And we changed, and then after that, we started getting rejection, we started getting put down, we started getting treated not the same anymore. So we, by the Spirit of God, we began to move and start searching, and God pointed us to the Northeastern Trail Riding Association.
My personal goal and our mission for Restoration Riders is to be an outreach to the community, to all areas that I focus on, that I meet, that I connect with, and to lead them in a direction that is positive according to our faith.
Why does I have putting faith with the trail riding when it was actually social and didn't have anything to do with God? Well, it's because we believe and we know that all things work together for good for them that love the Lord. We do know that, and God has put into us and put into my heart, into my spirit, that this is a way for us to get out and reach people and bring them to Christ through the trail riding.
With Restoration Riders, I would say our ultimate goal is to simply be a light. As we are proud to be believers, Christians, we want to be a light for every place that we go, you know? And so it's not so much of trying to get people to do certain things and alter their lifestyle, but when we go out, before we say, hey, I'm a Christian, hopefully they will actually see the light in us by the way we speak, by the way we treat others, by the way we conduct ourselves, by the way we handle challenges, just by the fun that we're having out there. I pray that somebody can look at my lifestyle and say, oh yeah, he's different. He's a believer.
The challenges that I face spiritually, emotionally, with the ministry is being able to stay aligned with the ministry, meeting different type of people of all walks of life. I just want to make sure that I'm not a deterrent to what the ministry is all about. There are a lot of times when we speak to people and they're in different walks of life where they want someone to listen to them. There's a part of empathy that we're basically concerned about. We're concerned about the connection on a spiritual level, an emotional level, and a physical level also.
My connection to horses and my faith with God, they comes together. It shows that animals are to be cared for as much as we care for God. It should be protected, it should be loved, and that we have the same feeling for God. Horses gives us a responsibility. Horses gives us the dignity to care for people just like you care for these animals. And that wakes up a spirit that's on the inside of you that God has put in you. And that spirit comes out when you work with the horses. That's the way you work with people.
For any challenge that comes about, I believe your faith is always the key. Depending on the exact challenge, difficulty that you're actually facing, it's certain things that you'll come across and you just know that your strength alone is not going to get you through it. You know, and you're trying to figure out, okay, how can I overcome this? How can I deal with this? How can I be able to eliminate this thing that's going on in my life? And it's just sometimes you by yourself, it's not going to be able to handle it. And it's nothing but the faith and the strength that God gives you that will help you get through it.
Well, I believe because, well, praise the Lord. I believe that it is powerful because horses carry such a great, powerful significance. Horses is just, man, that's another aspect that horses really have to bring people together. Mm-hmm.
The advice that I would give to them is to stay focused, to pray, and to ask God for whatever their desires are of their heart.
If somebody wanted to lead a ministry, one of the first questions I would ask them is why? What's your motivation? Why do you want to lead this ministry? I would ask them, is it something that they feel they just want to do, or is it something they feel they have been called to do? I feel like if it's just you wanting to do something, it's going to be your strength that's going to get you through. However, if God is the one that's calling you to something, I believe that He'll give you the grace for every challenge and difficulty and anything that comes with it. I believe that He'll give you the grace to do it if He has called you to do it. And so knowing why you want to do it and what's your reason would be a major key.
What it means for me to be able to glorify God in the arena, it gives me the power, it gives me the strength, and it gives me the courage because this is where the light of God, this is where the light of the Word has to shine. It has to shine in this arena because there's darkness. There's darkness here, there's darkness there, and without the light, it will always be dark. So we're there to shine the light.
My sister introduced me to Restoration Riders. What made me feel like I belong is that through my early childhood, from Brenham, Texas to Goodrich, Texas, I've always been in the field of trail riding and horses and being a part of the equestrian area.
I recently received the role of wagon boss like a week ago. I've been the assistant wagon boss for several years, and so I'm honored. My grandfather has allowed me to be in that role, and so I definitely don't take it for granted. And the title is wagon boss, but I feel like I can't get so caught up on that title, but I'm looking for opportunities and ways to serve the people that are part of our group. And so it's not so much of, hey, being a boss, you do this, you do that, but I'm thinking of opportunities, okay, how can I make this group better for everyone, for this particular family, that's a part of the group. Okay, how can I make their experience better, and what can we do more to, um, just different opportunities to go to different rides, make those experiences better. So it's just about serving. The title is Wagon Boss, but you can't get caught up on that. It's not a role where you just get to tell everyone what to do. That's not my focus.
Wow. When I led that 14-day ride on that mission, and what inspired me so much is that I had a lot of youth with me. And right today, that those youth is still out there. And they're grown now, and they have their own families. They have their own children, and they are doing such great work. When you look at some, I see quite a few of them in the rodeo arena are doing good. You take as you take. I know you probably heard of Dush. He's a roper. He's a young guy that was with us back in the day. And Solomon, Corey Solomon, you hear he's a good roper. He was out there with us one of the days. And I also had a great grandson. I had a great grandson that's doing an awesome job with horses that was out there with us doing that emancipation ride.
I first realized this at a moment when I was um, basically being tested on my religious ethics as far as the things that I used to do and the things that I no longer wanted to do. I wanted to align myself in a positive manner and living a Christian life and being focused on doing the things that I loved at the same time. A lot of challenges that I was focused on, I wanted to make sure that they weren't obstacles and to make sure that I was in the right path.
What I would want mostly for my family and members and people in the community to know more about me or represent me is to, how I carry myself, how I conduct myself, and how I want to be remembered about what I did to help people, how I do.
My connection to horses reflect my connection to God in many different ways. There's a point of strength, there's a point of patience, loyalty, there's also faith is also involved, and basically knowing the sense of energy that a horses feel, and the same token, the sense of energy that I feel when I'm being a part of living a Christian life.
For restoration riders, I think of what we mainly do: trail riding. You're in motion, going down the trail, going down the streets, the roads, and all these different things, and being bold in your faith. And so it is one thing to say you are a believer, but I can hide that. I can be ashamed of that when I'm having certain conversations or around a certain group of people. But I think of faith in motion, where it's not being arrogant, not thinking that I'm better than anybody else, because I'm not, but being bold in that faith. I say I'm a believer. I say I represent God. And so you're always confident in that, as we're doing everything that comes with a riding group, holding on to that faith and standing tall, firm in that faith.
I think God placed me in this specific ministry and season of my life because I was at a standstill of focusing on being helpful to someone in the ministry. I wanted to stay in a ministry that was conducive to what I was used to being around, my environment, where I feel the presence of God as far as being in worship on the trail or in fellowshipping. I would have to go more strongly in worship and on the trail. Of course, in fellowship, I do feel it around me because God is omnipresent. But basically, when I'm in the service, there's a surge. It's like a surge of, I would say, worship. Um, I'm spiritually connected with the Word, and it definitely gives me comfort when I'm in worship. On the trails, a lot of times when we're on the trails, a lot of times we speak of what we're going to do, what our challenges are, what situations we may face. But at the same time, we're also I'm thinking about what I'm going to do, things that I have to create to continue to live a positive life, to be a positive role model to other people. So it's a lot of connection spiritually and emotionally. What this ministry has taught me about walking in faith is that I have to make sure that I know that it's His will, God's will, it's God's walk, and that He will always protect me in any situation that I'm involved in. I just have to remain faithful and be patient.
Strength and humility when others are depending on me for direction. So I think that's a very important thing to have balance when it comes to. I think having too much strength, as some people would say, or too much control could be a negative thing without that sense of humility. But understanding that my strength only comes from God. And so that keeps me humble because I know it's not me. I know it's not Caleb that's getting us through. I know it's not Caleb that's making these things happen. But if it was not for God, then I have no strength. So that keeps me humble because I know it's not me and me alone. So I stay humble because I know who is actually giving me the strength to do whatever it is that we need to do. I always feel His presence, and that's just from the simple fact that I know He's there. Right now, He's here. But there have been moments on different rides and everything that have been highlights for us that I could really look back and say, God was there. Whether it was incidents, there was one incident from, a major ride that we do with the Houston Livestock Show that happened this year, February of 2025, where I could have literally lost my life. And so just trying to help, it was not the best decision that I made as we are moving from one campsite to the next early. It's about 6:30 in the morning, clouds are low and everything, really can't see on Highway 90. And I get out in the middle of the road, and long story short, a car could have came and T-boned me, probably going 70 miles an hour. But at that moment, I froze. I'm driving, they're coming, I'm in the driver's seat, of course, and they would have hit me right then and there. And I know that was nobody but God who stopped that car. Because it was like at the last moment, like I say, you really couldn't see. At the last moment, all you hear is the car brakes going. And I mean, it just seems extremely loud and magnified in that moment because I'm looking at this car and like I say, I froze. I'm watching it getting ready to be hit, And so a moment like that, it's like, there was nobody but God. I can't take credit for it and say, okay, yeah, I knew they wasn't gonna hit me, this and that. Man, it was nobody but God in that moment. And so there's been several other times I was on a trail ride probably like a year ago, and man, just the presence of the Holy Spirit in the middle of a field, people are looking, and I had the opportunity to pray with the gentleman with several witnesses. People are just looking in the middle of an empty field. Well, not an empty field, but that spot that we were in was clear and everything, and praying with him. And man, the Holy Spirit just really moved in that moment, I'm praying with him. He's crying. He hits the floor and everything, and was able to hug him and embrace him and minister to him. And I spoke with him about 3 months ago, and now he's ministering. He's preaching. He's pastoring. And so God is always there, but there are moments where you can really look back and say, okay, he's here.
The way that we support each other in times of challenges, we pray together, we listen, we communicate with them. We always have a listening ear. We let them express themselves, how they feel about certain things, different challenges that they go through. We try to make sure that we have a listening ear, and any type of help or assistance that we can do within reason, we definitely try to be available for those people. The message that I hope that the community receives is that there is unity, togetherness, that we are aligned with whatever the special needs are in the community, that we are always there, we are always the voice for the community. And if there's any social, anything that's going on as far as education, that we're always there too. We're always a part of them as far as the education. Who has inspired me, encouraged me the most? I would have to say my wagon boss, Reverend Charles E. Perry Sr. He has been a focus of support. He's been a focus of being an overseer to us. And he's a warm person with a lot of wisdom, and you can learn a lot from him. And I must say, I'm just grateful that the connection was positive.
When it comes to making the impossible possible through faith, I can think of what I've seen through my lens concerning other people. And so, man, this thing of trail riding, it's a generational thing. It's big on tradition. Most of the people who are in it, not everyone, but a lot of people who are in it, they got it from their parents or their grandparents and things like that. And so I see a lot of people who still trail ride to this day. And some of the people they got this tradition from, they learned about this thing from, have passed and moved on. And so I don't have a personal experience with it, but looking at them, you know, just thinking how they may feel, knowing that their father may no longer be here, their grandfather may no longer be here, and they still continue to carry out this tradition. I believe that's making the impossible possible through faith. You know, just steady holding on, steady trusting God, because I know it's not easy. You know, the person that you learn this thing from, that you probably used to really enjoy doing this thing with on weekends and everything, is no longer here. And so I'm sure they have certain things that go through their mind. And I'm pretty sure there's still some pain there, you know, and it takes the strength of God to just continue going and moving forward and not just saying, hey, I'm done with this.
When I first noticed someone being transformed through the ministry, is we had one particular person who held a position in the Trail Riding Association, where he had been through military medical situations, and he had also had a death in his family, and he was going through a trying time. And a lot of people look at that as a negative thing, but at the same token, you have to listen and be responsive to those who are in need. So basically, I saw a big change in that individual as far as being positive.
For me, my grandfather, Charles Perry Sr., he is the one who introduced me to horses, trail rides, and everything. He was living on the north side of Houston, Acres Home. Of course, I was born out here in Fresno. And so, man, any weekend, any Saturday, any Sunday, I had a chance to go out there and ride, even if it was just for a few hours after church. I really look forward to it. You know, it came one time where he ended up giving me a horse, and I was able to keep it in my backyard in Fresno. I I don't know, 5 or 6 or something like that, that was just a major joy. Because going out there each and every weekend, probably was tough. People have things to do. And so just any chance I got to go out there, be around him, he's teaching me certain things, different trail rides I was able to go to with my grandfather on the weekends. He played a major role into what I do today. And even my cousin Lloyd, very influential, really looked up to him. That's my grandfather's other grandson. He was a role model for me as well. I used to mimic a lot of the different things that he did with horses. And so both of them were very influential when it comes to horses.
When they watch this document, how do I want them to feel? I want them to feel as though the legacy and the tradition of horses and trail riding and future farmers of America is still there, and that is still there for us to be better.
Being a part of this group has strengthened me to separate the choices that I have made in the past, and by being not just for people who want you to be around them, but to be positive and to continue your spiritual growth. Not being able to straddle the fence, focus on what is right and make it right. Personally, the word restoration means to restore, to remake, to redo, to align yourself with what's positive, what is right. 5 years from now, where I see myself is becoming assistant wagon boss, being more of a publicist to expose what our ministry is about.
When it comes to restoration and what it means to me, I would say new beginnings would be a major thing that I think of when it comes to being restored. Another thing is being whole. I believe there are several things that a person can go through where you need to be restored. A person may think they are in one position, they may think they are complete until certain things happen, and a lot of times we're broken and restoration needs to take place, so that we can become truly whole in whatever aspect that is, spiritually, mentally, physically. And so that's not just one part of me that is whole, but I mean just everything when I'm completely restored and I'm really living a new beginning.
I hope that this film will reach those who are seeking help, seeking credibility, those who have probably given up or was thinking about giving up, knowing that there is a way out. There's a way for them to know that there are people who care and who are interested, who have their best interests. When all is said and done, I would want people to know that you have to continue the fight no matter what you go through. You can never give up. You have to remain faithful. You have to also trust, have patience, and not give up in anything that you do.
Getting ready to go on the trail, I'm seeing, when I'm getting ready to go on the trail, getting prepared, getting ready, I'm seeing people being brought to Christ. This is what I'm striving for. When we go out to bring people to Jesus, bring people to God. So I'm going not as an individual just going out riding, going out having a good time, going out enjoying myself. We have meanings, we have goals, we have aims, we have purpose. And our purpose is to bring people to Christ. That's what we do.
When people watch this, I want them when people watch this, I want them to think of God's goodness. I was born with sickle cell, and growing up, anytime I did anything with horses, as much as I loved them, I already knew, because of the physical toll that it takes on your body through riding these animals and being around them and everything, you know, and especially as a kid where I wasn't doing it every day, I already knew that I would be in physical pain and I would have a sickle cell crisis days after. And so to go from that to spending as much time as I do with these animals today, as I'm 32 years old now, with no physical pain or anything like that, even going to the doctors and they can't believe that I have never been hospitalized for my sickle cell. It's not because of me, and it's not because of a particular diet, it's not because of exercise or anything. Those things help, but ultimately it's because of God's grace and God's goodness.